Hey there guys, welcome back to What Cheers. I'm Nick as always. Tonight we are in store for another treat from Treehouse Brewing Company. This is a brand new beer from them. It was growler only and it's called Strider. And it's basically Treehouse's take on a West Coast IPA, which is very cool, and I don't think they've done that before. So I'm really interested to see exactly what that smells, looks, and tastes like, as I'm sure you guys probably will be too. It's a 7.1% American IPA, and it was created by Brendan, the amazing assistant brewer. And I just spoke to him last night actually at the brewery, and I honestly already forget the hop bill that he told me was in this, which is probably a good thing because it's not listed anywhere, and I don't know if I'm supposed to have that information to tell you guys anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it's basically a West Coast IPA from Treehouse. So as far as the description, guys, when they put it out, it says constructed from a simple malt bill along with some of our favorite hops. Strider takes a West Coast IPA approach. Inspired by our favorite West Coast breweries, we dried this IPA out a bit more than usual and then packed it with serious spicy tangerine, orange rind, peach, and slight dank hop character. She's punchy but begs for the next sip. We hope you enjoy. So yeah, I'm expecting this to have a lot of the classic qualities of an amazing Treehouse IPA, which is obviously super juicy, citrusy, tropical, the mouthfeel, all that. But as far as taking it in a West Coast approach, so I'm expecting there to be a bit more bitterness, because there usually is virtually no bitterness to most Treehouse hoppy beers. So I'm expecting a bit more bitterness to show up, and probably a bit more piney, resinous, dank tones in this as well. But I don't know, so I've never had it. So before we get into it, guys, I just want to say a huge thanks to my buddy Dave, who scored me this, and I hooked him up with some beer as well, because this came and went in like a day at the brewery. Every time that there's a new, a new one-off or whatever draft-only beer, they come and go like that. So thanks a bunch to Dave, who works there, for hooking me up with a 750 of this so I can review it for you guys. This was filled exactly a week ago on Halloween. So it's 1 week old. It's been kept in the fridge the entire time, and we are going to get into this now. It's been out of my fridge for about a half hour to 40 minutes. It's still got a really good, nice chill to it, but it's a lot better than fridge temp. So guys, without further ado, I'm really stoked to check this out. I don't know if it's going to be a one-off, so we'll see. But I'm really curious to see what a West Coast IPA from Treehouse is like. So let's go ahead and get it cracked open, guys. Almost forgot to turn the camera back on for the pour. So here we go. Just do a dump in there and see if we can get a nice big head. Oh yeah. Oop. Maybe went a little too crazy. I just had a super long day at work, so I am exhausted, and it is really, really late. So I am so excited to get into this, guys. Only got one bottle of this, so figured I'd review it for you guys, because I don't know if we're gonna see this beer again. All right, guys, so we got the Strider poured out there. It's about a nice 2-finger head of a slightly off-white head, and pretty tightly packed medium and small bubbles. The head looks like whipped cream, basically classic Treehouse, just really gorgeous stuff. As far as the appearance, guys, let's take a look at the color. Yeah, it is just this beautiful honey, kind of burnt orange, deep dark, golden color, totally hazy, kind of like that classic Treehouse haze, a little milky haze to it. But you guys can see that just looks like your classic, beautiful, hazy Treehouse juice bomb. Definitely doesn't look like a West Coast IPA, which are usually quite filtered and clear. But let's go ahead and guys and dive into the aroma on this. Oh wow. Wow, that's so interesting. So as advertised, guys, definitely picking up the pine and resin notes. They are in the background. I do up front get that classic treehouse tropical juice, like pineapple juice, or like fresh cut orange slices, a little bit of that orange rind. Yeah, it does smell juicy, but there's a big punch of piney, resinous, slightly dank, herbaceous kind of hop character in the background. But up front, it still has that sort of pithy, juicy, crisp, kind of fresh oranges. Again, just like fresh cut citrus fruits and that fresh pineapple. Wow, I'm picking up a lot of like grapefruit too, pink grapefruit. It's really interesting. It's very zesty. It's very bright. It's vibrant. But I am picking up that background of almost like a Cascade or Columbus type thing. Yeah, I would venture to guess it's probably Cascade or Columbus in this, and probably some, as far as the juicy notes, probably like Citra. Amarillo, I would say, is probably in this, because there's that really bright, almost lemony orange, lemony lime orange type of thing in there as well, which is usually very zesty and vibrant and bright, which I think, so it could be Amarillo, it could be Citra. But either way, guys, really does smell like, sort of like a mix between Julius and, it's like a West Coast version of Julius. That's really what it smells like, because it has some characteristics of that piney resinous dank thing in the background. But yeah, it smells amazing. It smells really good. Oh, guys, let's go ahead and get a sip on the Strider. Thank you, Dave, for hooking me up with the growler. Cheers, guys. Oh wow. Oh wow. These guys can do no wrong. Man, that is dry. That is so dry. Which I think is exactly in the description, to be honest. Punchy as hell, I think is what they said, and dry. Wow, that's so good. Yeah, let's go for one more sip, guys, before I start talking about the taste, but that's damn good. Oh, I love Treehouse, man. Yeah. Second sip, as it layered up a little bit, extremely hoppy. Definitely, I think hop resin, like oily, resinous hops is the best descriptor of what I'm pulling from the West Coast side of things. Very resinous, very hoppy, very dry. Extremely dry in the palate, especially in the back end. After you swallow, it just completely dries out the tongue, which is really cool. I'm not getting a whole ton of bitterness, which I like. Excuse me, I was expecting more bitterness, but I'm not getting a whole ton of it, which is totally fine by me. It has the bright, zesty, vibrant, citrusy, pithy, and juicy notes up front. But then it transitions into that very punchy, kind of in-your-face, resinous, hop oily kind of thing. In the mid-palate to back end, it kind of takes over, and then it finishes as really, really dry. But it does have that element of almost like a Julius-esque, flavor right up front to the mid-palate. Right up front, I get a huge blast for like 3, 4, or 5 seconds of classic Treehouse Juice Bomb IPA with a big melon, watermelon, honeydew melon, which I love up front for those first few seconds. Big blast of that melon kind of melange there. Then it transitions into that, again, intense sort of It's like zesty and then resinous, hop oily kind of thing. So good, so good. I wouldn't call it dank. It's not a dank pine, bomb or anything like that. It has elements of it. It has elements of a West Coast hoppy beer, but it's certainly not all the way, obviously, because this is, again, Treehouse's take on that. And I think so far, from what I'm tasting, it's a really well-made take on it. It's exactly probably what Brendan was going for. I think he should be super happy with how this came out. I don't remember if he said he was. I would imagine he is, because this is really, really well done. Yeah, I'm gonna keep drinking on this, guys, for a few more minutes, and I'll come back to you guys with my final thoughts and score on the Strider. But really, really, another absolutely wonderful beer. I'm definitely surprised that there's not more bitterness, or at least for my palate. But I'm totally fine with that, because one of the things I love most about Treehouse is not having that bitterness, but it does have that intense hop punch to it, which I really, really appreciate in this beer. All right, guys, so I'm back with the Strider, and I've been sipping on it for about 15 minutes now. Drank a bunch more of it too. Really let it warm up quite a bit more. And what a fantastic beer this is. Again, just showcases what Treehouse is capable of, especially what Brendan is doing on the 5-barrel system. It's really, really refreshing to see a brewery be able to do this and have all these experimental, possibly one-off beers coming out, but at the same time continue to make all the other incredible hoppy beers that people know and love and expect week in and week out. So to be able to do that and then have an incredible assistant brewer doing this sort of like side project stuff in the brewery and then releasing them from the 5-barrel is just so cool. It really is amazing how much Treehouse is doing right now. They have so much going on. It's crazy. So this beer, I think, for what they were going for what Brendan's idea was for a West Coast version of a Treehouse IPA, is pretty spot on. And we'll go through the aroma and taste one more time, and I'll tell you what's up with this beer. Right now, it just has a slight chill to it. I've pretty much let it warm up to what I consider the optimal whatever. Everyone's different. You can drink it ice cold if you want. I prefer these beers to be somewhere between cellar temp and fridge temp. Slightly chilled is where I think you get the maximum aroma and flavor. Maybe that's just me. So as far as the aroma now, guys, yeah, it's just like really intense, bright, sweet, and almost spicy, sweet and spicy, like citrusy notes. Very zesty, very pungent in your face, kind of. It's weird. It's like it is somewhere between a Treehouse New England style and a West Coast, because it has this intense pungentness to it, which is like the resinous character that I'm talking about. Yeah, there's this pine and resin mixed with like this sweet and sweet citrus fruits, and almost like just citrus rinds, very zesty notes. Yeah, it's really, really amazing, guys. It does smell like a Treehouse beer. Again, I feel like if you gave this to me blind, I could probably tell you this is Treehouse, because there's just something, if it's the yeast that they're using, and I know that the malt bill in this is very, very simple. There's virtually no malt, guys. You can't smell it. You can't taste the malt. You can't taste the alcohol, 7.1%, not that high, but you still can't taste it or detect it in the aroma. So a lot of elements about this beer, even the appearance alone, I mean, it even looks like a Treehouse beer. But you could almost pull out that this is a Treehouse beer doing it blind, is what I'm saying. But the elements of it, as far as the West Coast, are definitely there. Yeah, it smells great. Let's go one more sip. The more it warms, wow, such a good beer. Wow. The more it warms, right up front, those first few seconds just taste like a classic Julius type super juicy, creamy, which, by the way, I didn't even mention the mouthfeel. Mouthfeel is amazing. Super, like, medium bodied, almost like creamy, velvety for an IPA. It's just nuts. But yeah, the mouthfeel is spot on for what all the other Treehouse beers are like. But yeah, right up front, it's very much like a Julius, very juicy, very citrusy. But what happens mid-palate is this thing attacks intense hop character, which is something you don't really get or feel in Julius. It's a very soft, smooth beer. This thing really attacks the palate with the hops. It's got a huge punch to it, and the hops are very zesty, come across zesty, spicy, spicy in the way of like just zesty citrus rind type of thing. You know, grapefruit peel, orange peel, you know, fleshy orange. And then it transitions into more of a piney, a little bit resinous, not so much dank. It's more pine and resin, oily hops, that kind of thing is what I'm getting from it in the finish. And then it finishes super dry, which makes this beer extremely drinkable. I still really get almost no bitterness to this beer, so that's something that in a West Coast beer for sure would be there in spades. But I don't really find that here is the case, which is perfectly fine with me because I like this style anyways. So really the first half is Treehouse, the second half is the West Coast as far as the taste for me, which is just brilliant. I don't know how these guys make these beers the way they do, but they do it, and they do it so freaking well that they're basically the best in the world. And they couldn't be more humble and nice about it. So I feel very fortunate to always open these beers, and I've been on the Treehouse bandwagon pretty much since they first opened. And it's amazing to see where they've come, and just yeah. Anyways, before I go on another tangent about all that, let's talk about the score on this beer, guys. On Beer Advocate, there's not enough ratings for a number. Yeah, as far as the score, guys, it's got to be high 90s. Thinking maybe 98 on this one. I'm gonna go 98 minus on this one, guys. I think it's really good. It's fun to try. I think, you know, it's like, okay, you have this, but you could just have Julius, or you could just have the next Curiosity or Green or whatever. But as far as trying a new Treehouse beer that's possibly a one-off, yeah, it's freaking awesome. If this was something that was like made available like exclusively to like the West Coast or something, oh my God, people will go nuts about it. I wonder if Joe from Joe's Beer Reviews, if he has his buddy who hooks him up with Treehouse beers, I wonder if he's gonna get a growler of this, because it's, as far as I know, it's the first like proclaimed West Coast IPA that Treehouse has done, and I know he's a West Coast dude who loves Treehouse, so I hope that he gets to try this one, because it really does combine the best of both worlds. It's like basically a Julius West Coast edition. That's everything that I talk about in this review. It's basically like a Julius West Coast edition. Yeah. So, anyways, guys, yeah, it's exactly as the description described. It's drier, punchier, and has all the wonderful elements of, you know, excuse me, your typical classic juicy hop bomb, but with that West Coast twist. And it delivered. I mean, I think people from the West Coast might want more bitterness, because there's still pretty much no bitterness for my palate. They might beg for more bitterness, but it is an intense hop attack on the palate. And I'm really looking forward to finishing this growler, guys. So I'm going to get out of here. 98 minus, guys, for the Strider from Treehouse. And if by chance you got to try this, if you got a growler of it, definitely let me know what you thought of it in the description or in the comment section below. I'd really appreciate it. And remember, guys, until next time, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm sorry, it's late. I'm tired. I can't think right now. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. And please let me know what you think of it if you got to try it. And until next time, guys, cheers. Thanks for watching.